Hello, welcome to the video. So what I'll be doing today is showing you one of the workouts that I do, because I do a few different ones where I work out once a week using high intensity training and only using body weight training. So the whole workout that I do to get my physique is once a week, and I'm only using equipment that I can have in this room here, which you'll be seeing as I go through the workout. Today's one of the ones that I'm doing, actually a different one that I don't do normally. I move some things around every few weeks. I change it up, mix it up a bit, but the key components are there of a horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, vertical pull, a squat, a hinge, and maybe a few accessories like calf raises, tib raises, stuff like that. In this one, I'm going to be replacing pull-ups with some bicep curls, bodyweight bicep curls, and then adding an extra tricep exercise. There's some few key components that make this workout work. First was having a metronome. You can have it on your computer, on your browser, or on your phone as an app. I have a physical one here just because I'm using my phone to record, and sometimes I train outside, and if I'm recording at the same time, then I can't have a metronome because I don't have my computer outside. So I have one over here. Now you want to put it to 60 beats per second, so like a normal, basically a normal second, and that'll help you keep time when you start training. And then you also want a stopwatch, because you want the set to be around 60 seconds. So within 60 seconds, you want to hit absolute failure, that you can't do another rep. And if it's before 45 seconds that you failed, you've probably done too hard of an exercise, too hard of a variant. If it's after 90 seconds and you're yet to fail, then you picked too easy of an exercise. So that's why the timer is quite important. And you're not looking at the time and saying, oh, have I done 60 seconds? You would just put the timer on, do your workout, get to the last rep, hold for another 5 more seconds, and then finish. 2 more points is we're going to do a rep cadence of 4-2-4. So pushing or pulling for 4, holding for 2, and then going back for 4. Doesn't have to be exactly like this, but that's what the metronome's for. It means that you can do slow, controlled reps to mitigate the chance of injury, because you want to get stronger, but you don't want to get injured. So doing these slow, controlled reps just means that there's no momentum on the body, which can lead to injury. And finally, we're not going to do full range of motion just before full range of motion, so something like that. It's not, I don't know the exact optimal placement, but the reason why you want to do effective range of motion rather than full range of motion is because you want to keep the muscle under load, keep the tension under load. Time under load for as long as we can. So for the whole set, we want to keep that tension, just to get the maximum amount of effort from the workout. So without further ado, we'll begin. Another thing is I'll be doing some Maya reps. So for some of the exercises, not all of them, if I felt that I couldn't reach complete failure, maybe I just psychologically I gave up too quickly, or maybe other aspects, other muscle groups that were part of the exercise we're not able to keep up. So for example, if I'm doing chin-ups, when my grip gives up, but actually my back and biceps are still pulling, in those cases I'll do some Maya reps. So I'd wait 15 to 20 seconds and then bang out a few more reps until I fail, and do that 3 to 5 more times, probably 3 times in this particular workout. Another thing is to make sure the workout's always fun, and don't add too many exercises so that it gets to the point where you don't train to failure anymore. You hold back a bit. So now I will post up the workout on the screen, so you should be able to see it somewhere. And this is a version with equipment. I have got another video which I'll put in the description, which has a whole workout without any equipment. So without further ado, we'll begin. That took 1 minute and 12 seconds, so not too bad. I will then rest for 15 seconds and then follow up with a drop set because I felt I could have gone a bit longer. So that's a good sign, it means that I've probably reached failure. So once again I'll wait around another 15 to 20 seconds. Can't count whilst talking. And I'll bang out a few more reps, probably just one. Do that once more just to really guarantee I've hit failure. If you think you genuinely reached failure, you probably don't need to do these. But because it's calisthenics and bodyweight training, it's not like a machine where I'm really stabilized. I can't trust for sure that other muscle groups didn't prevent me from keeping more reps, from doing more reps. So that's why I'm doing my reps. So just rest another 15 seconds, one more set of my reps, and then move on to the next exercise. So you saw that was one set to failure, around 70 seconds that took. And on the final rep when I couldn't pull, I held for 5 seconds, kept the range of motion where it was always under tension, so the time under load was there for the whole set. 4 seconds up, held for 2 seconds, 4 seconds down. As I just mentioned, never going fully extending so that I can maintain the tension just a bit before full lockout. And then waited about 15-20 seconds, did another rep, again, a few more reps, again, a few more reps, to make sure I completely fatigue the muscle, and that's the vertical pull done. And then, in theory, I shouldn't have to do any more vertical pulling for the rest of the week. That's enough to tell my body to build muscle in those areas that were targeted. Now we'll move to some pushing. The next is one of the horizontal pushing exercises that I do. This one will be a fusion between the tuck planche and a dip. So you'll see it's not necessarily fully dip, not necessarily fully tuck planche, and I got this from Drew Bay's Calisthenics book, so shout out to him. I probably can't do a full minute on this, so you'll see I'll do something called accommodating resistance, which I got from Mindful Mover, where I will adjust the difficulty mid-rep. So in some of the exercises I might put my feet down as I'm pushing up, just my toes, to help up. One of the beautiful things about calisthenics is that you can adjust the difficulty mid-rep and make sure you're getting the best out of every second of that rep. Whereas with gym equipment or machines, unless there's a strength curve in the machine, whatever weight you have, that's how challenging the whole rep is, even if you might be stronger or weaker at different parts. So we'll give this a go. So in that one I didn't even try to do 5 seconds hold. It was a bit too challenging for me. Just for context, I've not trained in 21 days as I was away in India. So even when I'm consistent with only a week gap, this is still probably the hardest part for me. This is now, you'll see most workout are basic calisthenics exercises. There are other routines where I do advanced ones, working towards one-arm pull-ups, chin-ups, front lever rows, planche, etc. And this is more belongs in that category, which is one of the other workouts that I mix in. But this workout is mostly focused on the fundamental exercises, just going to failure. Because what exercise you pick, what you do, doesn't matter too much. It's mostly about how you train. Training to failure and triggering the body's response to grow the muscles, and then resting long enough to let that happen. And avoiding injury as you do it, because you have enough rest and you're doing the reps slowly. So I'll now do some myo reps. I rested a bit longer than 15 seconds because I was talking, so I can do in a proper myo rep set. Okay, now we'll move on to pistol squats. So now we're doing the squats, pistol squat. This week I'm starting my left side, all the same things, short range of motion or not doing full range of motion to maintain that tension and load. Doing slow reps, 4 down, 2 hold, 4 up. If it's longer, a bit slower, it's okay, but the main thing is you don't do fast reps to get momentum. And then checking the timer. And this one I actually look at the timer and aim for a minute, because if I don't, I think I'll give up early because it's just that difficult. Probably I'll reach a point where maybe I could go beyond a minute, but I'm giving up prematurely. So that's something to watch out for, which is why normally I don't look at the timer. But this exercise is so challenging psychologically that I think if I don't time, I might finish beforehand. So here we go. It's not doing full range. Another thing is, if you don't go all the way down, you can make it even harder. I'm using the wall, this thing, the banister, for balance. Because I want to make this a strength exercise, not a balance exercise. Oh, that's burning. Just under a minute. See, if I may have given up earlier, maybe I could have gone longer. Something that I need to figure out as I keep going. And other side. Not going all the way up, maintain that tension. Smooth way back down. So only holding on the bottom on the way up and down. It's a smooth switch. And then switch back down. Okay. Whew. That's brutal. Next, Tib Raises. This is good for that sort of area where you get shin splints, preventing that. Also gives me a bit of a breather after the squats. So I just do these for a minute. Everything else the same. Holding at the top. Slowly down for 4. And back up straight away. My legs are still shaking from the squats, pistol squats. Okay, so that's great because training another muscle group, a bit of accessory, and also it's an excuse to get some of my breath back. The next are the horizontal pull exercise, in this case the row. So you can do front lever tuck rows, front lever rows, arc rows, where instead of pulling to the chest you pull to the waist. In this particular workout for this week I'm just doing the basic rows, and there's different grips, right? You can pull like this, or you can pull in and twist. Because I didn't do pull-ups in this particular exercise, I'm going to keep my grip like this. I think it's called, what's that? Supinated? No, pronated. And then I'm going to pull in. And this means some of the gains I might have missed out from the pull-up, because I did only chin-ups this time, I'll still hopefully still get. If I were doing pull-ups, maybe I'd add a little twist in there to get a bit more bicep gain. But I'm going to do some bicep curls, bodyweight curls later anyway. So like I said, it depends on the workout. In this particular workout, I'm just going to do some normal rows. So I'll do them now, do them for hopefully a minute, see when I fail, and then do some myo reps, 3 myo rep sets afterwards. Okay, that was about 70 seconds. You can see I dropped from the stool to the floor because it was getting a bit hard for me, a bit fatigued from the chin-ups. So now I'll do some myo reps because I felt I could have done a bit more there. I think my grip gave in. Seconds. Hard to know when I give up psychologically and when I give up physically, but the main thing is that first set to failure. That's the most important one. There's just extra insurance, money in the bank. Cool, that's the horizontal pull. So next is the vertical push. And if you're doing more advanced variants, doing harder progressions, you could do handstand push-ups on the parallettes, on the rings, just on the floor. If you are doing them, I prefer to do them against the wall or legs wrapped around the straps of the rings, because I want to focus on strength. And in terms of balance, I can do that in a different time in the week. But for this workout, focusing on strength. In this particular week's workout that I'm filming and the one I'm doing, I'm going to be doing pike push-ups with the hands raised on parallettes, because if it's to the floor, you only go this far, whereas with the parallettes, you can go much further and get a longer range of motion. And then I'll raise my feet. Because I raise my hands, I'll raise my feet as well, because the pike push-up is trying to simulate a handstand as much as possible and working towards the shoulders. So ideally you get your feet higher and higher and higher. Once again, for this workout, I'm doing easier progressions, slowly to failure. There are other times in other workouts that I'll do in different weeks where I'll be focusing on the harder progressions like handstand push-ups. So yeah, so we'll go now, do one set to failure, and then do some higher reps to finish off. See, even then I was so fatigued, I couldn't even do the 5-second hold at the end. And I can't express how much more challenging it is if you don't go all the way up just a second before and then straight away go back down. I mean, a rep volume is just in half just from doing that, because you don't get any rest. Whereas if you go all the way up, you actually have a rest for a few seconds and then you go back down, you rest. Whereas when you keep it in that range, that tension, just going before lockout, it's so much harder. And the quicker I can hit failure within reason, so not too quick, like I was saying earlier, between 45 and 90 seconds, then the quicker I can stop and move on to another workout, another exercise. So it's a good thing if you can make that targeted muscle range hit genuine muscular failure. It's good. Now, because it's calisthenics, it's not a machine, I'm not stuck in just doing shoulder presses. You saw my legs were shaking, other muscles are fatiguing, so I'm going to do a few more reps just to make sure I hit failure. Now, one thing of this exercise, you can use accommodating resistance. The more you are on your toes, the more challenging it is. The more you bring your weight towards your heels, the easier it is. So if you're struggling to push up, you can bring your weight down to your heels and finish the rep. Then the way down, where you're a bit stronger, go more on your toes, more load on your shoulders, which is something you can't do with machines and weights, really. Unless you get a really good machine, like I mentioned earlier, that has a strength curve built into it. you may notice that in the myo reps, I might not be following all the principles of HIIT, where I'm doing slow reps, partial range of motion, holding for 5 seconds. In the myo reps, I'm just banking out whatever I can to finish, but in the main set, I'm doing my best to adhere to the HIIT, high intensity training principles. Also not to be confused with high intensity interval training, which is a different training protocol. Next will be the basic squat. We're doing it in a HIIT style. Just like with the pistol squat, I'll be aiming for a minute. Once again, I could probably do more, but because it's so uncomfortable with the legs, I like to time it to a minute, because otherwise I might give up a bit earlier. As I mentioned in the pistol squat section, maybe I'm going to lose out on this because I could actually do more and I should move to a harder version. But as you saw, I was really struggling on those pistols. There's just some extra squat exercises now, just for safety, to make sure I really hit it hard enough to justify a 7-day rest. And this one you can maybe do a bit longer, hold longer at the bottom, go on the way up, go a bit slower. So yeah, I could probably go much longer on that one, but yeah, something for me to address in the future. Next, calf raises, similar to Tib raise, accessory exercise that's useful, but also gives me some time to get a breather without having just resting and doing nothing. I'm resting, but I'm still training something at the same time. All right, so I'll do a minute per leg. I'm going to start with the left leg this week. I'm doing on a step. On the way down, I can go a bit further down. I'm doing one leg at a time. Just on the edge of the step. Hold at the top for 2 and down. Try not to use your hand too much. Just for balance, not for pushing up. Cool. Then the other side. Going down. Holding at the top for 2, 4 seconds down. Give me a stretch. Next will be the ring push-ups. So for this one, I'm using the ring, as you can see behind me. I like this because you get almost a chest press type thing. I can't remember what it's called now, when you bring the dumbbells in. And then you also get a pushing motion in one. I think it's a chest curl. And yeah, the pushing in one movement, so you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. There's an instability factor, so you're hitting your stabilizers. Like in the HIIT community, they're not really as into stabilizers, it's more about just hitting failure. So I'm not too sure if there's a huge benefit to it, but I get a bit of FOMO not having at least one pushing exercise with rings in the routine. So I'll do one set to failure and then some minor reps afterwards. The issue there was my legs are still fatigued, they're shaking. Maybe after having 21 days off, I'm not as used to it. So that's impacting my ability to do the pushing. There are some people that split their leg days and their upper body day. I'm starting to see why, and I'm not even doing any weights, just body weight. So either I need to get my legs much stronger, but then I'm going to make the exercise harder, or I need to split the days. It's hard. But because that first set is so hard, training to failure, we can justify not thinking about strength training for 7 days, which is a huge time saver. You focus on sports, other activities, socializing. Not that you shouldn't do movement every day, but in terms of strength training, muscle building, you can just get it done 30 to 60 minutes a week and then move on with your life. So that's the main bulk of the workout, just missing the hinge, the Nordic Curl, which we'll be doing shortly. But in between then, I'm this week experimenting with adding some accessory exercises. So I'm adding the bodyweight bicep curl and the bodyweight tricep extension. Probably don't have to do these if you're doing the other ones properly. In theory, with your compound exercises, you should be building the different muscle groups anyway. So for example, in your chin up or pull up, you should be hitting your bicep, and over time, whatever your genetic potential is, your biceps should be being reached if you're training to failure and training hard enough. That being said, I personally have a bit of FOMO of not hitting some isolations, so I'm going to address that this week and do some bicep curls, bodyweight bicep curls and bodyweight tricep extensions. But in theory, with the HIIT protocol, you don't have to really do these. But I'm going to do it just one set each, no minor reps. I only managed 40 seconds, a bit too fatigued, so I might do one more quick set. And I forgot to put the metronome on. Okay. So clearly need some practice of that. All the chin-ups and the rows just fatigued me too much. So I'm going to move on to the tricep extensions, bodyweight tricep extensions. And in theory, with the pike push up, the tug planche / dip, and the ring push ups, we should have hit these triceps enough. But just to be safe, in this particular week at least, I'm adding them in. I haven't been doing them in the past. I'm not sure if I'll be doing them in the going forwards. But like I said, each week I vary the workout a bit by keeping the core principles the same. Right, 10 seconds shy of a minute, gave up a bit prematurely there, probably could have gone a bit further. And one thing you may have noticed, I've not had any ab exercises, core exercises, and you can add them, sometimes I do, but with the calisthenics version of this program, of the HIIT protocol, at least in my experience, I feel you're training the core so much in every exercise that I don't train it directly, but I'm not this week at least. There are other weeks where I add it in. If I feel I've got the energy, I will, but I'm making the assumption or the presumption that it's a free gain from my other workouts, and I feel my core in the pull-ups and the chin-ups and the planche push-up and the pike push ups just now. In the tricep extensions, I feel my core shaking. So I'm going to use that as a means to save some energy, and it means I'll go a bit harder on other exercises, knowing I don't have even more more exercises in the workout. So it's about making sure you're putting enough in there that you're hitting all the core muscle groups, but not too much that you start holding back and you don't train to failure. So making sure it's always fun, always manageable, and not to the point that you don't want to do it. You can always add it in a different week, do some kick throughs or crunches, sit-ups, L-sit, whatever you want to train it if you feel it's lacking. Now I'll finish with the final exercise for this week, which will be the Nordic Curl. Next is the Nordic Curl. You can use something to hook your feet under. You can buy something like this, or you can put your toes under a bed. That's how I did it initially, or under a sofa. Just make sure it's tight enough. Trying to tighten this one a bit. And then I don't use a metronome for this. I don't use the stopwatch. I'm not strong enough to do controlled reps. So I will just do 5 or 6 reps as best as I can. I'll be supporting myself on the way down with my fingertips, minimal support, and a minimal support on the way up. If you're struggling, you can always bend at the hips. Then it's a minimal support, then push up, and minimal support on the way up. So it's the hinge. So I'll do about 6 reps. Really squeeze the glutes. Two more. So that's this week's workout. Each week I change it a bit slightly, but the core principles are the same, with the vertical push and pull, horizontal push and pull, squat and hinge, and then some accessory exercises. I usually use accessory exercises to get my breath back without having too prolonged a rest, and I'm sort of resting in between each exercise as much just to get a bit of my breath back. But usually they're all different muscle groups, so after the push will be a pull and then a squat. So your muscles shouldn't be too tired, it's more just your central nervous system and your cardio which might be struggling. But the quicker you go, the more cardiovascular gains you can get for free, so you don't have to do as much cardio elsewhere. But if you feel you're really out of breath, either you need to do some additional cardio or take longer rests in between the different workouts. So if that's something of interest to you, I can post more of the other workouts that I do, the other varieties, but hopefully this should give you enough of a formula to build something of your own and start adding these principles in, should you be interested. I can get a very good workout, build a great physique, a lot of strength. If you see my other videos, you can see I've got high pull-up numbers, can do a lot of gymnastic skills, which although I learned when I was younger, I haven't been doing any direct work to maintain them. My physique is getting stronger and bigger, and all just by doing 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes 60 minutes a week. So I hope this is of benefit. Any questions you have, let me know.